Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and also following the COVID precautions. I know you all are excited that you are going to come to school very soon, but please maintain social distance as well. You have to bring your own water bottle, own pencil box, and everything, whatever you want. Okay, don't share anything with anyone. Bring your own sanitizer bottle as well. Okay, so in the previous class I have discussed about the coal combustion and flame, and I completed that topic. Now in today's class we are going to discuss the next chapter, that is conservation of plant and animal. Okay, so the topics which we are going to cover are introduction, deforestation, causes and consequences, why for conserve plants and animals, forest conservation, biosphere reserves, flora and fauna, endemic species, wildlife sanctuaries, national park, reforestation, and finally the lessons learned out of this entire lesson. So what I am going to talk about is conservation of plant and animal. Why do we even want to conserve plants and animals? So you can see on the screen shows the Mother Earth. So on Earth exists life, and which make it is not only the human being which survive on this earth, but also the huge variety of other animals and birds and microorganisms, plants. So we see many different varieties of living organisms on earth, and that is its speciality. So it's our duty to take care of all these organisms. So here in this lesson we will see how can we conserve and protect all these living organisms, which include plant as well as animals. So because existence of life on earth makes it special, so do we want to lose its speciality? Of course not. We want to retain it, we want to conserve it, we want to maintain it. Okay, and why do we want to conserve it? That is also we will see in the next few minutes. Okay, so what would happen if Earth is just become a planet, which is just be a planet inside which there will be no life forms? Because if we don't take care of it, a day will come when there will be no life forms existing on Earth, because there are so many issues which are coming up right now. The environmental has to be maintained at the right temperature so that living organisms are able to survive. Living organisms should not be continuously dying due to some or other reason. So we need to strike that balance so that the living organism can they can live on Earth. So if you look at the varieties, you will see that a huge variety of living organisms exist on Earth, and that is known as biodiversity. So the word biodiversity, bio means life, and diversity refers to variety. So variety of life forms on Earth is called biodiversity. So if you look at the huge variety, you see elephants, dogs, monkeys, rats, tiger, rabbits, lion. So do you think all of them look similar to each other? So if you compare their size, they are very different from each other. If you compare their behavior, their shape, their voices, everything seems so different from one another, but they all are living organisms. Okay, so many huge varieties of animal. Not only that, human beings, we also are part of a living organism. The tiny insects, the flies, the worms, they are also the part of living organism. So there is again a huge variety of organism which lives in water. So whether in the marine water or in fresh water, we see a large number of varieties of fishes, dolphins, sharks, whales, octopus, starfish. So there are so many aquatic life forms also which exist on Earth. Not only that, you also have extremely tiny microorganisms, say bacteria, fungi, which is not visible to our naked eyes, and finally a huge variety of plants. So where you have so many flower plants, non-flowering plants, some of them are very short, some of them are huge trees. So again you have a very big variety of plants. So if you look at this, the screen you, of course, you will not be able to accommodate every life form which exists on earth, but do you think it's a tedious task to try to conserve each of these living organisms? While not really, because if we follow certain things in our life, if we follow certain, we will be very well able to conserve these huge variety. So in this lesson we are going to focus how can we conserve or protect the biodiversity, that is the variety of living organism on earth. So now something that is bothering you is, do we want to lose this rich diversity? Now where we saw that in our planet so very rich in the variety of living organisms, so very rich in our planet is so very rich, so do we want to make it lose something of the living organism from all? No, not really. We should conserve them. What should we do? We should try to conserve them. So it is something like, let us suppose that you have done a lot of hard work, and in that hard work, where you have a lot of hard work in the job or in school, and that's how you are able to pass your exam. And when you are doing hard work, you earn something. Okay, you have done a lot of hard work for your side, and that's how you are able to score more in your exam, 10 out of 10 in your test. So would you like to lose your marks like that? No, because you have done so much of hard work, and then now we are rich with good marks. So why do you want to lose it? So in a very similar way, our earth is also rich in the variety of living organisms, and there is no point we should let earth lose any of these organisms. Also, there are many advantages if there is a huge variety of organisms which exist on earth. So that is why we will talk about biodiversity conservation. That is, how can we conserve this huge variety of life forms on earth. So let us first look at the importance of biodiversity to the ecosystem. So how existence of biodiversity help our ecosystem. Now before we talk about benefits, let us first explain you what is ecosystem. What is ecosystem? It is basically a system, the entire system consisting of the living organism as well as the non-living components. They together form the ecosystem. So ecosystem include all the plants plus all the animals plus all the microorganisms plus the non-living components like soil, water, air, which are essential for their survival of these living organic components. Okay, so all the living component plus the non-living component, they together form the ecosystem. Now each of these components depend on one another for their survival. So do you think that these organisms are whether it is plant, animals or microorganisms, will be able to survive if there is no soil, no water, no air? No, that is not possible. So the living component needs the non-living components for their survival. So this entire system is known as ecosystem. Some example of ecosystem are like forest is an ecosystem, because within the forest you have the non-living components like soil, water, air, etc. You also have living component like plants, insects, animals. So that makes a ecosystem. Similarly, pond is an ecosystem. Within the pond you have everything, all the non-living component that is required for aquatic animal for their survival. So, and you also have the aquatic organism. So these living and non-living components make up the ecosystem. So the living component called biotic and non-living component called abiotic. So that was the brief introduction to the ecosystem, because we will be using the term ecosystem very often when we talk about biodiversity. So that's why I explained it to you. However, the huge variety of living organisms help. So species diversity results in more stable biological community. So what do you mean by more stable community? So it is like different organisms, as I said, different living organisms, they depend on each other and also on non-living components for their existence and their sustenance. Like if you talk about human beings, we depend on other living organisms. Sometimes we, for our food, for our water, for our survival. Correct. For example, human, we consider some of us directly feed on plant products. Some of us feed on animals which feed on plants. So directly or indirectly we depend on other living organisms. So when we have more variety of organism, then the dependency on one particular organism is reduces. For example, like let us say there are certain animals which feed only on plants. For example, if you see a rabbit feed only on plant. Now if you have more variety of plants, then it is better for the survival of rabbit, right? So similarly, there are other higher animals which feed on smaller animals like rabbit. So if you have more variety of such animals, then the survival of those higher animals become easier. So having a more variety helps in the stability of entire biological community. So that is one advantage. Next is increased diversity result in increased productivity. So when you have more diversity, you have more variety of living organism, your productivity also increases. That's because each group of organism is producing something. For example, if you talk about plants, so plants they do photosynthesis and produce food. So they are primary producers. Now in our more variety of plants, your productivity is definitely going to increase. Right, so each species will have a very important role that play in the entire ecosystem. So biodiversity boosts up the ecosystem productivity, because when the number of organisms and the number of species increases, the net productivity out of that ecosystem also increase. Ensure sustenance of all life form. Now as I was telling that all organisms are dependent on other organisms for their survival. So if you will see here, plants, they prepare food. They own food, sorry. So these plants are being eaten by animals like goat or cow or rabbit, and these animals are again eaten by lion, tiger. Now when all these plants and animals died, what happened? They become dead and decaying matter. So dead and decaying matter are then broken down into, they mix with the soil, and who does this job? This is done by decomposers. And who are decomposers? The primarily bacteria, fungi, they act as decomposers. So if you see all these living organisms, since they depend on each other, so when you have more variety of living organism existing, it is better for the sustenance of all the life form. It also, the existence of huge diversity also help in the environment. So what would happen if the species start vanishing? So we will see it later on. Let us suppose right now on Earth there are, say just an example. Let us suppose that there are hundreds of species of plants and animals existing on Earth. Now, if I say that I want to conserve biodiversity, that means I want to protect these 100 species of plants and animals so that they continue to exist in the future generations also. Now just imagine if I don't take proper care of all these species, over a period of time 10 or 15 species will vanish or die completely. So they do not reproduce further and their entire species seems to end. Okay, they do not exist more. So instead of 100 species, now I left with only 85 species. So in such a situation, there is an adverse impact on environment also. For example, let me take example of plants. If the number of plants reproducing due to some or other reason, we start talking about all the plant. Okay, so gradually the number of plants keep in decreasing. Now when the number of plants keep on decreasing, what happens? The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere keep on increasing. Number of plant decreases, amount of carbon dioxide increases, because plants are the ones which take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere during photosynthesis. Now when there are less plant, there are less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. Okay, so it keep on increasing. Now when the amount of carbon dioxide increasing, what is carbon dioxide? It is the greenhouse gas. Okay, we learned about greenhouse gas, right, in our previous lesson, right? So the greenhouse gas in fact increases, and when it is increases, then what happens? The average temperature of the earth increases, which we call as global warming. Now when it is increases, it is not good for the environment. This is very bad for the environment. This is not for the survival of, not good for the survival of any living organism on the earth. So that means also, if the species diversity start reducing, it has an adverse effect on the environment. So now, because of all these reasons, it is very important to conserve biodiversity, that is being protect the variety of organism existing on the earth. But unfortunately, there are certain threats to biodiversity. Even we agreed, yes, we should conserve biodiversity, but there are certain things, unfortunate, these threats are because of us, that is human activities. Human beings are the greatest threat to biodiversity. We ourselves feel that yes, we should conserve biodiversity, because human beings are considered to be a most intelligent species existing on earth. So we know it is important to conserve biodiversity, but at the same time we are the ones who are putting biodiversity in danger. How? Have you ever seen that most of the forests are being cut down because of human being? So it is the main cause of cutting down of forest for the larger scale is due to human being, because human beings need trees for various purposes. We would utilize the wood from the trees for making furniture, for constructing houses. So we sometimes create cut the entire forest and to set up an industry there. Sometimes we also want to cut down the forest for many other needs, because we use plants and plant products for various purposes in industries, in factories, for food items. So there are many uses or many ways being utilized. We utilize plant. So this cutting down of forest on the large scale is really bad. So this makes us sad. So when you get to know that, it feels like, oh no, that is bad, because in fact that conserving forest was very important. But now you are seeing is people are in need, they are only cutting down the trees and reducing the number of trees, and that is a threat to the biodiversity. And this cutting down of forest on a large scale is known as deforestation. So deforestation is one of the most important causes which threaten biodiversity, because in deforestation we are actually ending up, we are directly cutting the trees, we are directly reducing the number of plants. So that's how we are impacting the plants. When you cut down huge forests, then a lot of animals in that forest also going to end, because they lose their habitat. So we are going to talk about deforestation in more detail now. We will see why deforestation happens, how can we control deforestation. So we are basically going to be deep in this lesson, in the deep of the deforestation, and we will see what are the various ways we can conserve or protect plants and animals. Now what is deforestation? D means something which is opposite of forestation. Forestation means development of forest. Okay, so cutting down forest is deforestation. So it is the permanent destruction or conversion of forest area for other purposes. Now what would be these other purposes? These other purposes could be establishment of industries or factories for various purposes. It could also be for the utilization of land for agriculture, so that more and more crops can be grown to feed the growing population. It could also be for the development of residential apartments, because when the population is increasing, the demand of people are also increasing. The people need more food, more spacious shelter, so the needs of the people also increasing. Now to meet the needs of the people, what is happening is the forests are being cut down, and when the forests are being cut down, they are causing deforestation, and these deforestation in turn has many harmful effects which we indirectly harming us. So if we talk about India, so in India it is supposed to be, now what it should have been and what it is, there is a lot of difference between the two. So if you see here, the green portion, these are the area which was covered by forest, and the blue area denotes the area which is non-forested. So this is how it was. In this case, almost 30% of the land was covered by the forest, and this was a situation in the beginning of the 20th century. So 30% of the land area was covered by a forest in India. But now what happened towards the end of this century, that means after 100 years, what happened? Instead of forest increasing, when your forest area increases, that means plants are increasing in number. Your greenery is increasing in number. So increase in plant is good for the environment. But unfortunately, by the end of 20th century, what was the scene? The forest area which is covered by the forest reduced to 19%. Earlier it was 30, now it is reduced to 19%. Now you can imagine, if it keeps on reducing in this manner, then after a couple of centuries there will be no plants left on this earth. Now when there will be no plant left on the earth, it is very obvious that other animal will not be able to survive. That's because animal depends on plants directly or indirectly. So if plants don't exist, the animals will not be able to exist. So this tells us how serious the problem is, how serious the deforestation is, and if it gradually taking place, the number of plants continuously reducing. Forget about the condition of India. If you look at the policy which is called as National Forest Policy, so there is a policy like this which tells what should be the area that should be covered by the forest for the benefit of the environment. So as per this, the National Forest Policy, it says that 33% of forest should be present for the plain area, and for the hilly area where you have a lot of hills, like in India, if you look at the state like Himachal Pradesh, if you look at Kashmir, so there you have more of hilly areas. So for these kind of hilly areas, what should be the amount of forest cover? That should be 67%, and for plain area the forest cover should be 33%. So if you look at the actual scenario, you will see that even towards the beginning of 20th century, the forest covered was only 33%, which is not meeting the law and which is not meeting the requirement of National Forest Policy. And towards the end of 20th century, it reduces all the more. So anyway, towards the beginning of 20th century, it is not meeting the requirement of National Forest Policy, and that too with time, that number also is continuously decreasing. So this is disastrous. So because whatever has been suggested by the National Forest Policy, we should try to meet that. But instead of meeting that, a number is also less, and we are reducing the number. Now what causes the deforestation? What causes the forest to cut down? But I think this is enough for today, and I will explain what are the causes of deforestation in the next video. If you have any confusion in any topic of this chapter, you can ask me in your Google Meet class, students. I hope this would be understood to you. Thank you, students.